Hey, good evening, friends. It's Dennis LaRue here. It's 8 p.m. Central Time, week 15, and you know what that means. It's a hashtag, steeltoesrequired, quote of the week. Amy, glad you're here. Congratulations on your Patriots making the Super Bowl. Well done, my friend. I know you're excited. And I'm excited about this week. Marilyn Lee, thank you for joining me. This is going to be, I think you're going to really like this quote. I really wrestled this week with which quote to pick. And the reason why is I've got so many to choose from. Hi, honey. My sweet Jamie's with me. That's awesome. I'm glad she's here. She's downstairs right now. Hey, Tammy, glad you're joining me too. So, hey, cuz, Shane, glad you're here. Rob is here. Man, folks are jumping in. I'm so excited. This is my 15th week of doing the hashtag steeltoesrequired quote of the week. I am your Chief Inspiration Officer, thanks to Amy for that, and also your Chief Encouragement Officer, Rod Asar. Hey, buddy, I'm glad you're watching this, man. I appreciate you. Here it is, right here, right now. Here's your quote, and the number one person who has impacted my life as far as, authors and speakers and trainers and coaches and success folks and all that is John Maxwell. John Maxwell is my mentor, and so I'm going to share one of his quotes tonight since he's impacted me so much. We've shared a couple of them before, but I wanted to share this one, and here it is. It's this. He said, most people don't aim too high for their goals. Excuse me, let me say that again. Most people don't aim too high and miss their goals. They aim too low, and they hit them. Did you feel that? Did you feel that toe crush right there? Think about that for a second. How many of you right now thought of some goal that you set that you achieved, and when you look back, it really was nothing? And I don't mean nothing in that the effort you put in, but when you look at it, it really didn't challenge you. Hey, Diane, I see that. Thank you. I felt that too. It hurt. It hurt. And I can think of so many. And why is that? Why is that we do this? I think part of it is because of our own ego. I mean, you set goals and you want to achieve them. And I mean, we're on Facebook, right? Nobody makes mistakes. Everybody looks great on Facebook. Everybody looks great on all the different social media platforms. Nobody wants to say, hey, I set a goal and failed. Who does that? Nobody. I think that's one reason we do that. But it got me thinking, this particular quote got me thinking about in the 90s. Now, if there's some of you listening to this that you weren't born in the 90s, before there were memes, we actually used posters. Yep, we had posters. And these particular posters were motivational posters. I remember them. They had the black lining around them and nice letters, and they had inspiring words and quotes. Yeah, Amy remembers them. Afrin, good to see you, my friend. Eric, hey man, what's up? And the particular quotes were meant to be inspiring. I saw them all over my Air Force offices and whatnot. But then coming back around, there were the same things called de-motivational posters. Do you remember those? I remember when those came out. I got an email. We used to be able to get spam email all the time back then. And somebody sent me a whole giant list of de-motivational posters. And there was one about goals that cracked me up completely. And here it is. I remember it to this day. It says, aim low, achieve your goals, and avoid frustration. I remember that, and I laughed, but you know what? Sitting in this position now, it's not so funny anymore because, think about it. When we say those things and we think those things, and look at this. I read that quote back in the 90s. That was a long time ago, and I still remember it. It is still in my brain, in my conscious, in my subconscious. And when we do that, what happens? Sometimes we end up living up to those things that we feed our mind, right? So how many of us have done that? How many of us have purposely aimed low to achieve a goal because you want to avoid frustration. Maybe it's as simple as each day. You put something on your list just so you can check it off so you felt that you were productive. I'm guilty. Raise my hand right now. Done it. Done it, done it, done it. And think about this. How many of you have heard of SMART goals? The term SMART for goals. Give me some hearts out there. There's some pops. I see Amy. Now, I want to share with you SMART goals, the term SMART, for goals that don't challenge anyone. We're going to reverse it. We're going to use the term SMART for goals that don't challenge you, for goals that don't inspire you, and for goals that are easy. So here it is, SMART. Let's start with the acronym, starting with S. You know what S stands for? S stands for small. That's right. A goal that is easily obtained, a challenge that is easily made, is a small one. It's like a speed bump. You may think up front that it looks like a mountain, but if you dig down deep inside, you realize it's really small. Small. The letter S, small. Here we go. The letter M, manageable. You can manage it. It's easy. If it's small, it's going to be manageable. It's going to be easy. So that's the letter M. The letter A. I'm about to use a swear word. You guys have heard me use this word before. I'm going to swear. Average. The letter A is average. It's an average goal. It's an average goal for you. Your goal may not be average to somebody else, but we're dealing with you. It's your goal. A is average. The letter R. It's realistic. Did you catch that? That goal is realistic. Think about it. Back in the 60s, remember what President Kennedy said about space? By the end of the decade, we'd have a man on the moon. That's not realistic. It wasn't realistic back then, but man, they busted tail and they made it happen. They made the impossible possible. Realistic means I can do it. And it's easy, and I can check it off. So that's R. And then T, I wrestled with T. I had a hard time finding something for T. But you know what? If the goal is easy, if these are SMART goals for goals that don't challenge you, then the T is, you're going to complete the goal. The T is tarnish. It's a tarnished accomplishment because it really didn't challenge you. It really didn't take you to the next level. It didn't get you out of your comfort zone. As a matter of fact, you stayed in your comfort zone the whole time. You're kind of like being at a water park and you got into the lazy river and then you just floated around the rest of the time. It was easy. It was so easy that what is that saying? So easy, a caveman can do it. There it is. That's your SMART acronym for easy, unchallenging goals. I'll go through them quick again. Amy's posted them out there on Facebook, but I'll say them again. S, small. M, manageable. A, average. R, realistic. And T, tarnish. That's the SMART goal for unchallenging, easily obtainable goals. Now, there's a lot of SMART. There's two different acronyms that I use with SMART. They're so good. I love it. First off, you know, a goal needs to be specific. But here, what I want you to understand on these goals is if your goal, I've read this on a book cover, I've heard it many times. If your goals don't scare you, they ain't big enough. If your goal doesn't scare you, if it doesn't make you kind of buckle your knees a little bit thinking about it, then it's not big enough. Because you got to be challenged. You got to get out of that comfort zone. And to get out of that comfort zone means you got to do something that you haven't done before to achieve the impossible. So S, you got to be specific. Some goals, you got to be specific. Another S word is significant. That's what I like. I like significant. I want a goal that's going to make a significant impact, not just in my life, but in the other lives that are out there. I want significant. M, measurable or meaningful. One of those two. You got to be able to measure it. What does that finish line look like? For me, anyway, for some of you, I've been a runner. Rod Azar remembers me in high school. I was a cross-country runner. I literally ran 2,000 miles in a year. Piece of cake back then. Not so easy now, and I signed up to do it now. But if I were to set a goal of running 1,000 miles this year, I could do it. I initially set my initial goal of 1,000 miles to 1,500, and I realized, you know what? I'm not challenging myself. That's one of those easily obtainable goals. It's not testing me. I know I can do it because I've already been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So it's got to be measurable and meaningful. Now, going out running 2,000 miles now, that's meaningful because I haven't done it and I've been coming off of injury. So it's meaningful to me. The letter A can either be attainable. Now, you do want an attainable goal, but also it's got to be action-oriented. You got to take action. You can't just make it up. You got to move forward. The letter R, relevant. It's got to be relevant. I mean, if I were going to say that I wanted to go to outer space this year, that's not relevant. Why? Why do I want to do that? It's not a relevant goal for me. But here's a relevant goal for me. I want to impact 100,000 people this year. This is one of the means to do that. Is that a huge obtainable goal? It's challenging me. It's a big goal. But you know what? I can do it. I know I can. You guys can help me. You're already helping me. It's also, the letter R can be rewarding. Imagine impacting 100,000 people. Inspiring them, encouraging them. Put yourself, many of you out there, think of what a rewarding goal would look like for you. Rewarding. Amy just stepped on my toes. I'm capable of so much more. Amy, we're going to talk about that because when I get you an action step, I'm going to talk to you. That's so good. But rewarding, what does rewarding look like to you? For some, it could be financial. I mean, let's face it, it could be financial. Or for others, it could be impacting lives. It could be your kids. Whatever that looks like, your career, fitness goals, whatever those are, what's going to be rewarding to you? And then the letter T, it's got to be time bound. If you don't put it on a schedule, if you don't put a date on it, it ain't going to happen. I remember my college professor telling me this. He said, you know who a serious student is? A serious student is one who has a graduation date. And we were freshmen. That was powerful. That was a powerful statement. So you've got to get time bound. In other words, you got to have, when am I going to get this goal? Part of that specificity, this being specific. And then finally, it's got to be trackable. It's a trackable goal. 100,000 people, or in my case, since Amy tells me I can do more, whatever that number is, that's trackable. That's very trackable. So there it is. There's a good, smart goals. Specific or significant is the letter S. Measurable or meaningful is your letter M. Attainable or action-oriented is your letter A. Relevant or rewarding is your letter R. And your letter T, time-bound and trackable. And I will type those up and I'll put those out there for you. So here's your action step. I got a great feedback from a friend of mine this week who said, Dennis, you need an action step. So here is your action step for this week. Review your goals. I want you to go back through. We're at the end of January. You should have some, at least for this month, if not for the whole year, already down. Go back and review your goals, but not just by yourself. I want you to get your coach, your mentor, somebody who holds you accountable, like Amy just did to me, and let you know that, hey, that goal, it's a good goal, but you know what? You're capable of more. You're using one of those easier goals. You need to review those. Review those with that person. Let that person speak into your life, and then make the adjustments to those goals. Because remember, if your goal doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. So make it big enough. And then you got to take action. That's your action step for this week. And then now, as we close, I was on Eric Reed. I see you out there, brother. I love it. And I want you to go see him. I want you to get on his Facebook page. He does a great Friday gig called Fun Friend Friday. I had the pleasure of being a guest on Friday. And Eric, you know what? I appreciate you. And Eric does some great stuff. And he does a great interview and brings out such great thoughts. And you go down, he just gives some great stuff for you. I want you to get out there and get on Eric's Facebook page, friend request him, and watch Fun Friend Friday. It's great stuff. I love it. Wingman Amy, that's my word. And he came up with this idea. The reason I brought Eric up is this. Because we were talking about hashtag steeltoesrequired, and he brought up a great idea. And this is your way to help me impact others. I know all of you guys out there have quotes and things that have added value to you and that rock your world, or you might even have them on your wall. Maybe some of you that have been around a while got some of those black posters that I was talking about, those motivational posters, and share them with me. I want you to, I'll start a thread. Either we can do it here, or I'll start a separate thread, and I want you to share that quote. And here's what I'm going to do. If you share a quote with me, and I choose it, I'm going to give you a shout out. I'll shout out here on hashtag steeltoesrequired your quote, and I'm going to do I'll use your quote for that session. Fair enough? So you get a chance to help me and a chance to impact lives all over the world. All right? Sound good? Who's in? I see Amy in. So I'll get that thread going. Get your quotes ready, because I want to be able to help you out. Give you a shout out here. All right, with that said, before I give you the closing blessing, I want to say one thing. Now, I'm retired Air Force, and our government just went into shutdown mode. I was actually active duty during the last shutdown that we had, and I remember working that. So part of my prayer tonight is, say a prayer for our troops, and say a prayer for our government, civil servants, and those affected by this who are not going to work tomorrow. They're not getting paid. So say a blessing for them, because this blessing definitely applies to them. And here it is. Our closing blessing that I've started is this. Comes from It's a Wonderful Life. I pray the blessing of bread that you know no hunger. Salt, that your life is flavorful and you add flavor to others. And then wine, that you would have prosperity and joy forever. And I pray the love of God to be your portion. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on hashtag steeltoesrequired. Now get out there, and those that you watch in the morning, get out there, get busy, your action step, get out there, get to that mentor, that coach, that accountability partner to speak into your life and share your goals with each other. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Dennis LaRue with your hashtag steeltoesrequired quote of the week. Have a great one.